Y'all, it is that time of year again. Trout fishing season is starting. When I say trout fishing season, I mean stocking. They start to stock around November 5th here in the Midwest. It's currently November 4th. So thought I'd go ahead and give you guys some of the top trout lures that I like to use and some ones I'll be testing out later this year. So let's get into it. All right, first, a couple lures I'll be testing. I got these from Bass Pro. I can't even read what they are, but they're these. They have Ned heads. They sit on bottom, and they got these little spinners. If you don't know, trout love flash, so I'll probably be trying these as it gets into the colder months. But number 7 on our list. I don't know why we're going from 7, because I just don't have 10. I'm going to go with Mike's Marshmallows trout bait. I found these on a bank in Bennett Springs down by Branson. I took a trip there, but I'm not going to rant about it right now. It's a whole other video for that. But I found these on a bank there. They're kind of hardened, but I did catch a trout on them. Only caught one. Only used them for a little bit. But apparently they glow and stuff. They seem pretty cool. I'm kind of bricked in here because I got brick. But usually they're a little more fluffy and stuff. I just found these in the water on a bank. So that's number 7. Number 6, we're actually going to look at the lures now. Let's see if I can find it. It's going to be a small spoon. A lot of you are probably be like, whoa, this is a little low for spoons, man. I had more confidence in a spoon. I sure don't. I've caught like 2 trout on these, and I've used them a lot. They're not all they're hyped up to be, in my opinion. I mean, they're cool and stuff, but not all typed up to be. Now, number 5. Gotta be these little trout balls. They're flies, but they're like these little balls. I've had moderate success on them. Catch a lot of bluegill on these, actually. A lot more bluegill. My dog is barking. But a lot more bluegill on these than trout. But they do catch trout, so, you know, you gotta give them the benefit of the doubt here. Now, kind of controversial on this one, but I'm gonna go with my number 4, the average just fly, like this. A lot of people would have this as their 1 or 2. I'm putting it at 4. I've had success on them, but not as much as these other lures on this list. So it's going to go in number 4. Number 3 is going to be this power bait here. Looks like corn. I caught my PB on this. It reminds me of corn. That's another... Oh, shoot. Dropped it. But these are my number 3. Sorry, I'm falling apart. Now, for my number 2 answer, I gotta dig through here. I'm gonna go with tubes. Little tubes like this, I have had the most success on, especially in crowded places. If you're going to a non-pressured place, I would not use this. I'd use some of the other lures, something shiny, something more moving. These, if you get one that resembles a crawdad, like in a river, like how I did in Bennett Springs, this is what I used to get to my trout. Because everything else, there was just so much pressure there that they knew. So these were the only things we could get them to bite on. Except for one other bait, which is the undisputed, in my opinion, number 1 answer. I don't think there's any other answer for this category. But, oh, there's one stuck on here. You guys can already see the tail. There's 2. Dang, I gotta find a single one. Cut the video. But it's gotta be the rooster tail. Can't go wrong with the rooster tail. Never can. An amazing bait. Got some line hanging off there. I don't know why. But any color, anything, this is what I've had the most success on. It's success. It's amazing. Always works for me. If you're starting off trout fishing for the first time, grab power bait, a little, just like a bait holder hook, and a rooster tail, and you will have success at a trout stream, pond. Just make sure you don't go to somewhere super pressured. I'd try to find somewhere local and just kind of a pond or something that they stock them in, or a lake. But this is what you want. I've never trout fished on a big lake, so I cannot tell you the things. I know I've never went to a big lake like Table Rock or something that they have. I know I have a couple friends in Taneycomo down there. I've had a couple friends that went there. And apparently it's really good, but I have no clue what they used. But when it comes to streams, I'm gonna go with tubes as my number one answer for streams. Work really well. Nothing else to say about them except they're just amazing. They've always worked great for me. So tubes if you're in a stream. Rooster tail is definitely a close second though, and then power bait in my opinion for the top three. If you're in a pond, you want to go rooster tail all the way. Rooster tail all the way. Also for streams, I forgot to say flies. Use flies. Just a bobber and a fly always works. But you will run into some bluegill probably. Rock bass or whatever you have, and some sunfish or something. I don't know. But just throw them on like a jig head like this. This is an older one that's been beat up pretty bad. But I just threw them on like a chartreuse jig head, bounced it off some rocks, and caught some fish. Then you could also go with a spoon. You could try a spoon. Maybe you have more success with them. Maybe it's a skill issue. But those are the things I'd go with. For a pond, it's rooster tail all the way. Then I could actually call for some curly tails and some power bait and corn. I've seen a lot of success on corn. And when you're in a pond, you're most likely going to average probably around you can average around a pound per trout, maybe even a little under, but the biggest ones you'll catch are going to be around 2 pounds. I've caught a couple 2-pounders, and man, they fight hard. Also, make sure to use 6-pound line and under, in my opinion. You can get away with 8 if you absolutely have to, but 6 pounds is usually where I like to sit. Because, I mean, where I fish, it's known for its catfishing too, so we'd be working something on bottom, a catfish picks it up, and I have 4-pound line. I'm not getting that 10-pound channel in, no way. So, but I just like to use the heaviest line I can. I know a lot of people like to use like 2 and stuff. I think that's unnecessary, especially for stock trout. So, yep, that's my trout fishing recommendations. Here's a couple other things that you could use just because. We'll go rapid fire. Fire eggs, garlic scented. I had minimal luck with that. Not great in my opinion. I didn't use them very hard either, so whatever. Then you could also go with a marabou jig. Marabou jigs, quality. These little things. You could go with them too, but you could get some multi-species in there as well. We're also going to grab some heavier spoons. These kind of spoons. I've actually had better luck with these spoons than the other type of spoons. These bigger, bulkier ones, I can work them on bottom. That's another thing I can justify using. Also, some rooster tails attached to it, but a bottom bouncer worm. You can have good success on those. I'd get a smaller one than that one. That one's pretty big. You could actually replace the fake worm with a real worm, and maybe even have any more success. These paddle tail swim baits also can have good luck with those. Then I would go with these little fake worms right here. You can wacky worm them into just like a little wacky worm, and I've actually had decent success with those too. So look it up on, oh wait, one more thing. You can also throw any of these like little tubes and stuff on these little spinner heads right here. There's like swim bait heads, but they got a little spinner on them. They'll underspin. An unnecessary amount of swivels in my opinion, but they're cool. I got those at Academy. Sports and Outdoors. A lot of the stuff you can find at your local Walmart or Academy. But when it comes to hook size for, like you say, bait holder hooks and stuff, I'm talking about these. You don't need the fancy treble hooks like your old men friends will say. Or maybe you're like 12 and you don't have old men friends. I can't speak, as you can see. But I'd say those are going to be all my recommendations for trout fishing. Now, when it comes to trout spots, like where you're going to be trout fishing, dang thing, I would start off with deeper spots. The dam is usually pretty good. I've caught some trouts on dams. You can go shallow, but I have a lot more success in deeper water. As if you're in a pond, especially at the beginning of the year right now, go with moving baits. As you start transitioning into December where the edges are starting to freeze, then you go to power bait primarily. As where I live in Missouri, it is, I think, 3 poles per person. I don't know where you live, and this is very much so Missouri's recommendations for stock trout. If you're fishing natural trout, have at it. Go look at another video. This is for stock trout only. But I would focus on deeper areas to start, and it could be a shallow drop off. If it's shallow, then drop off and just different cover like that. That could be good. Points could be good. Check out coves, just like places like, yeah. Think if you were bass fishing. If you're bass fishing, where are you gonna go? I'm gonna hit the corners. I'm going to hit the dam. I'm going to hit points. So that's what I do, is I'm going to hit corners, points, drop-offs, and different things like that. And if you don't really know your lake, girl, just trying to find a spot. I like to go to a bank and just kind of work down the bank until you see a spot that looks kind of fishy, and then you stay there for a while. If you find a spot that has fish, usually it has more than one, from what I've seen. But I know the average stock is around 500 in a pond, which I have very little experience in a stream. Sorry, brain fart. But I have a little bit of experience when it comes to that. I would go with those tubes, just start that off. How I did it, I was put a split shot, bait holder hook, tube, bobber right up here, and I'd cast it out and I'd work it like this, just like just kind of tip it, and then boom, they'd hit it. So I hope this video can help anyone that wants to learn how to trout fish. If you guys want to see some trout fishing adventures, then just keep watching. I wasn't going to ask if you guys wanted to see them or not, because I'm just going to make one. Because I love trout fishing, but I'm not a trout fisherman. A lot of people say trout fishing is zesty, and I can almost get behind it. It's not trout fishing is zesty, it's trout fishermen that can be a little zesty. It's like, I don't understand, like, being like, oh, the gracefulness of the trout. We need to release it into a pot of oil, in my opinion. Release it into a pot of oil. That's where trout belongs. Since the brutality, the, like, death rate, whatever you call it, brutality, mortality, whatever it's called, is very, very high with trout. I think it's like 60%, 50%, 40%, pulling that right out of my butt, but that could be it. That's what it seems, at least. I try to release my trout, like, every once in a while. If it's small, and they just come up float and be like, well, I guess I'm eating this ditch pickle. But anyway, this video is about 12 minutes long. Can't make it any longer, so power baits, tubes, rooster tails, that's about all you need. And 6-pound line. So, hope everyone enjoyed this video. Hope it can help you catch some trout. Hope you catch some big fish, and I don't know. Bluegill guy out.